Chapter 22. The next 2 weeks were all about Maya and me. We spent every moment of every day together. She practically moved into my apartment. She was over every night and I loved it. I knew it was still very important for me to connect with her family, so we made it over there just about every other day. And yes, Josiah, Daniel and I had a Scrabble match for the ages. In the end I came out the victor like I knew I would. I felt at one point that the father and son were setting each other up to try to beat me. Maya told me they weren't, and I was being paranoid because I was far too competitive. Maya's family was everything I imagined a family would be like growing up. It meant the world to me that they took me in and made me one of their own. It was the end of the month and the first full moon was going to be tonight. Maya and I anticipated some weird crap happening to me again and decided it would be best to spend the next 3 days at my apartment, especially the evenings. We got to my apartment around 3 from her parents' house, and Patrick was asleep in what was now his bedroom since Sasha had gone AWOL a couple of weeks ago. I had left the cage in the living room because I wasn't sure when I would need it. Maya and I decided to make spaghetti together in the kitchen. We put together a huge meal: spaghetti, cheese toast, garlic toast, and an antipasto salad. Loved me some Italy. I was setting the table for 3 people, even though I knew Patrick wouldn't be able to have much, but sometimes he was able to eat regular food. He never knew how his vampire belly would react. That was definitely a huge minus at the prospect of being a Mani. I was finishing up the silverware when I heard a knock at my door. "Are you expecting someone?" Maya asked. No, I walked over and peeked through the peephole. It was Sasha. "It's Sasha," I said. "Well, open the door and see what she wants." My stomach turned. It had been nice the last 2 weeks and I knew Sasha was drama. There was no way I wanted to go back to that. I opened the door. Sasha looked at me. "Hi, Tommy." "What's up?" I said slowly. "How you been?" "Great. You?" "I've been okay." "Good to hear." "Invite her in," Maya yelled from the kitchen. "Would you like to come in?" "Yeah, sure. Thanks." Sasha came in and walked towards the kitchen and said hi to Maya. "Are you hungry? We made enough for a platoon." "I'm actually starving." She sounded exhausted. "Well, have a seat. We set a place for Patrick, but he's not up yet." Maya was really being hospitable. That's why I loved her. She had such a good heart. "Patrick is still here?" Sasha asked. "Why wouldn't he be?" I said. "I don't know. I wasn't sure how domestic you two have gotten." I shook my head. I knew it was just a matter of time before she would say something inappropriate. "Can I ask you two a favor?" Sasha came out and asked. "Here it is. Here's the reason she came over. She is going to ask for money." "Sasha," I said. "Ask away." "Can I stay here the next 3 nights, in the cage?" "Really? That's what you want?" I asked, surprised. "Yeah, what did you think I was going to ask?" "I wasn't sure," I said. "Of course you can." I looked up at Maya. She nodded to me and smiled. "Let us know how we can help you." Sasha's eyes brightened. "Thanks so much, guys. I was going to wander around." "Well, you're in luck," I said jokingly. "We just happen to have a cage right smack in the middle of our living room." "We," Sasha said. "Yeah, we," I said plainly. "We is good," Sasha said, smiling. "I am happy for you guys." "Well, Sasha, in a weird way I would never have met Maya if I hadn't met you," I said. Maya sat down and the 3 of us ate like starving children. I had thirds and both girls had seconds. It was nearing nighttime and Patrick hadn't woken up yet. His door was shut and I figured he must have been wiped out from the night before. Sasha got into the cage and I locked her into with chains. Eventually the full moon came out, and she turned and hooted and hollered and screamed bloody murder at us. Maya and I decided to go in my bedroom so maybe Sasha would shut up. We put a movie on and eventually we both fell asleep. A couple hours later Maya woke me up. Tommy, she said. "Yeah, what is it?" "Feel my face. I think I'm getting a fever." I sat up and felt her face and she was very hot. "You're hot," I said. "Do you have any Tylenol?" "I have aspirin." "I need something stronger." "There's a Walgreens that's open 24 hours down the street. I can go down and pick some up for you." "Could you?" "Sure," I said. I would have gone to downtown London for her. "Could you also get something for a sore throat? My throat is scratchy." "No problem." I got up and put my shoes on and grabbed my keys. It was 5 a.m. So Sasha had about an hour left to be a werewolf. She was amazingly quiet as I left the apartment. I don't think she saw me. I got into my car and headed to the store. I decided to pick up a few items. While I was there, it had been a while since I'd been to a convenience store, so I needed some things. I took about a half an hour going over the aisles, shopping. I brought my stuff to the register. It was 2 baskets filled to the rim. I guess I did go a little crazy. It came out to $140.37. That was officially the most money I had ever spent at a Walgreens or any other convenience store. I got back to my apartment right as the sun came up. I entered my apartment, holding 2 big plastic bags filled with everything from cough syrup to toothpaste. I put the bags on the kitchen table and watched as the werewolf turned back into Sasha. She was drenched and she laid in the middle of the floor, shivering. I opened the gate and unlocked all of her chains. She looked up at me like she had just got done running a marathon. I went and got a couple of towels from the bathroom and came back and wiped her down and dried her off. "Thanks, Tommy," she said in a hoarse voice. "No problem, what are friends for? You really are a good friend. You have a great heart." I smiled at Sasha. "You do too when you allow yourself to be honest with yourself." I was being honest with myself. That's why I had to leave. I saw how happy Maya made you. I saw how perfect she was and how she is everything I'm not. Knew I couldn't handle being around you too. How do you feel now? I'll be okay. She's a lucky girl, and I'll make sure she knows it. It's okay, you don't have to do that. Let me grab a couple of Maya's things. So you can change your clothes. They were about the same size and I knew Maya wouldn't mind. I walked into my bedroom to grab the clothes and I thought my eyes had deceived me. Maya was gone. Not only was she gone, my bedroom window was wide open. "Maya!" I screamed at the top of my lungs. I stuck my head out of the window and could see footprints below in the dirt. My heart fell out of my chest. No, Patrick!" I screamed. I ran to Patrick's room, it was locked. I yelled for him to open it. "What's wrong?" Sasha ran over to me. "Patrick, open the fucking door." There was no response. I took a step back and kicked the door open. Patrick wasn't there and his window was wide open, too, with cardboard and masking tape ripped off the wall with pieces hanging out the window. "What the hell is going on?" I screamed. "What the fuck?" "Tommy, calm down. There's got to be a clear reason why this happened." I looked at Sasha with disdain. "Yeah, there's a clear reason. You and Patrick have cursed me." "What the fuck did you do, Sasha?" I pinned Sasha up against the wall. "Did you lead some Karnai or Mani to my apartment? Huh? Answer me." "I don't know what you're talking about." Sasha looked horrified. I couldn't tell if she knew anything or not. "You must know something, Sasha. This is your fucking world. You must have let someone here and they took Maya." I looked at the 2 empty rooms from the hallway and probably have killed Patrick. I was horrified. What just happened? Why did I leave Maya by herself? Why? I was only gone for an hour. How long has Patrick been gone? I only assumed he was sleeping. He could have been gone since yesterday. I fell to my knees. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. Sasha dropped to the floor next to me. "Tommy, you need to believe me when I say I have nothing to do with this." "I don't care. That's not going to make anything better. I need to find Maya. Just try to relax. Let's piece this together." "What's there to piece together?" "They came in and killed Patrick and then took Maya. But they came into 2 different windows. That means they had to come at different times." "No, they could have come in through one and left through the other." "Then why was Patrick's door locked? Why isn't there any kind of mess by either door?" "They only came in and out of the same windows." "Okay, what difference does that make?" "I bet they got Patrick the night before, not last night. They must have been waiting for you to leave Maya's side so they could get her." Just the thought of someone touching Maya against her will made me want to throw up. "Why? Why would they want Maya?" "Because they want you, Tommy. It is obvious that Mani have done this. It must be that Brotherhood crew from the other night." I looked at Sasha and she seemed real certain about what she was saying. "Why do they want me?" I asked. "Because they know how tough you are. You beat the crap out of 3 of them down and you're a human. They can only imagine how insanely powerful you'd be as a vampire. So they kidnapped Maya so I come after them? They don't want to hurt Maya. They can have any human they want. They hand Picked her to get to you. Well, if they intentionally wanted me to come to them, why aren't there any clues about where they went? Sasha thought for a minute. Well, there's one huge clue. What is it? They left me alive. They didn't find the need to kill me. Would they just have killed you for sport? Oh, they would have killed me and not batted an eye. They left me alive for a reason. They knew I could lead you to them. Can you? Sasha was quiet. Can you? I shouted. I'm thinking. Sasha and I picked ourselves off the floor and went into the kitchen. Okay. Let's start here, I said. Where have you been the last 2 weeks? I was staying with a friend in Arrowhead. Arrowhead? In the mountains. Is there another? Do you know of any Mani hotspots up there? Yeah, there's the biggest one. It's called Flatlands. All Mani and Future Mani hang out there. It's like their hangout. What is it? It's a gravel parking lot. Sometime they set up bonfires and hang out all night. What about during the day? Mani can't function during the day unless they transition into birds. Then who's watching Maya? I yelled. Probably Future Mani. What does that mean? Who the fuck is Future Mani? They usually are teenagers who are waiting to be fully developed until they turn. They want to have maximum height and muscle mass before they become vampires. It makes sense, I said. So, some of these teenagers might be keeping Maya hostage. I would bet on it, Sasha said confidently. They are going to stay hidden till tonight and more than likely meet up with whoever originally took Maya at the Flatlands. So I have to sit around all day and not know what to do? I knew I was going to lose my mind waiting around all day. I know it's going to be hard, but from everything I know there is no way they would harm her in any way. They want you on board with them happy, not looking for revenge. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't treating her like a queen. I swear to God, if any one of those guys lays a hand on her in any way, I'll kill the whole lot of them. Trust me, Tommy. They know that. They are just using her as bait. Chapter 23. This was the longest day of my life. I felt so guilty not calling Maya's parents and telling them that Maya might be in some kind of danger. I even debated getting Josiah involved. I knew he could kick as much ass as I can. And that was what I needed, was another ass-kicking machine. But there was no way I could put a 16-year-old in that kind of jeopardy. I knew he would jump at the chance, especially for his sister, but I couldn't do it. Sasha wanted to come. She said she would take off into the woods once she became a werewolf. I told her to stay, but she insisted on coming because she knew exactly where to go. We got in my Mustang and headed to Arrowhead Mountains. It was nearing dark. And as we got closer to the Flatlands, my adrenaline was off the map. I had no idea how I was going to control myself. All I knew was I needed to make sure Maya was okay. I pulled into a rocky parking lot. This piece of shit area is Flatlands? Asked. It's not exactly Central Park, but it's a pretty popular area up here. There was no one in the parking lot. Not one body, not one car. Do you think you made a mistake? I'm sure I haven't, Sasha said. There is still a little bit of light and the Mani can't transition yet. Sasha looked at me. Tommy, I'm going to need to go. I'm going to turn at any moment. She opened the door and left my Mustang. Sasha, I yelled out. She turned around. Yeah. Thank you. Be safe. You too. I watched as she went into the woods. The sun had set and the moon was in full view. I had to admit, whenever the full moon came out, I got an extra boost of energy like I had just downed 6 Red Bulls. I looked on as I saw Sasha turn into a werewolf. She took off running into the woods. I felt my face and my beard was as long as ever. I decided to get back in my car and wait. About 10 minutes went by and then all hell broke loose. 4 vehicles whizzed into the parking lot. A couple of black ravens and red hawks landed in the middle of the ground. I looked on and watched as the 2 raven transitioned into 2 Mani men. One of them was 7 feet tall and looked like the guy from the desert that killed that enormous werewolf. The other was about my size. The red hawk transitioned into a beautiful red-headed woman. She was the same person who was finishing off Karnai after they were injured from the other night. She walked over and got into one of the cars and sat next to a blonde woman. That had to be Maya. I jumped out of my car at the sight of her. I stood in front of my Mustang all by myself, and on the other side of this gravel yard they called Flatlands were 4 cars filled with God knows what, and Maya. 1. By when the car doors opened and people got out, I wasn't sure if they were all Monty, but that question was soon answered for me. Monty, the main vampire from the other night, made his way to the middle of the group. I wasn't sure who was in charge. I scanned the group and then I saw Patrick. 2 Monty men had him by his arms. Thank God he's alive. I noticed that Maya was still in the car with the red-headed woman. Our eyes made contact. She appeared shaken up and worried. Let her go, I yelled. Someone laughed from the back. He made his way to the front and the asshole had green hair. He had obviously dyed it to look menacing, but he looked more like Kermit the Frog than some intimidating vampire. Who are you? I yelled out. Me? The green-haired man said. Monty, I thought you said this strapping young man would make a great addition to our brotherhood. Monty made room for the green-hair man to have center stage. Trust me, he will, Monty said. How can I ask anyone to join my brotherhood when he doesn't even know who I am? Get over it, Kermie, I said. I'm not exactly keen to your world. As nothing personal. Why don't you let Maya go? She has nothing to do with this. We plan on letting her go in due time, but first you and I need to have a little chat. This guy was really feminine. It was really throwing me off. When you say that this isn't personal, that's where you're wrong. This whole meeting is personal. We have your girl and your friend. If we didn't make this personal, then we didn't do our job. I looked at this guy and he was trying to get a rise out of me, and if he persisted, he just might. If I wanted Maya back safe, I knew I needed to play ball with this guy. What do you want to chat about? I asked. You can say you're our #1 draft pick. We're here to make sure you sign with us. You can also say we're the Notre Dame of the paranormal world. You have an interesting way of trying to persuade me by kidnapping my girlfriend and taking my friend, I said. We do have a case of the dramatics, don't we? He turned around and laughed. The others saw him laughing and joined in. So tell me exactly, what do you want? I asked, looking over at Maya as I asked my question. In my mind, this wasn't about him or me. This was only about keeping Maya safe. We want you to join our brotherhood, the green-haired man said. I looked at everyone. Is everyone here part of the brotherhood? I'm not, the super tall guy said. I heard that you were some kind of stud, and I came to see for myself. Nice, I said. Now that you see me, what do you think? I'm not impressed. Sorry, I don't meet your approval, but then again, you're built like a beanstalk, so what do you know? This obviously pissed off the walking bean pole. He said, everyone, that is. Not Amani, you need to leave now. They all looked at each other and didn't move. Then the green hair one said, you heard him. All Tandra, leave. It's good to know your group respects their elders, the tall guy said. He was clearly disgusted that no one listened to him. You know kids these days, Atakai. They have no respect. Well, they better learn some, or I'm going to start making my presence known. With your people, Timo. You better get your crew together and get them on the right page. Timo, the green-haired guy, looked worried. He obviously feared Atakai. Something fierce. He yelled. You heard him. All humans leave. Except the girl, she stays. She better be staying or we have nothing to talk about, I said. About 3 carloads of people took off out of the parking lot. There were only 6 Monty left standing, 7 if you counted Patrick, Atakai, Timo, Monty, the 2 Monty holding Patrick, and the red-headed girl that was in the car with Maya. Okay, I said. Let Maya out of the car. I want to make sure she's all right. Timo snapped his fingers and the car door opened. The red-headed woman walked out with Maya. Let her go and then we'll talk, I said. Timo continued to speak. This was obviously his deal and Atakai was just observing. He was apparently above Timo in whatever vampire pyramid there was going on with these people. Timo smiled with a devious stare. We will let you 2 lovebirds get reunited when you agree to join us. So if I do this, you will let her and Patrick go? Patrick? Timo laughed. No, Patrick is going to die. We thought that he could be your first task in the Brotherhood. You know, help kill our dead. Wait. That isn't going to happen, Greenie. There is no way I'm laying a finger on Patrick. Don't tell me that this is going to be the deal breaker? Timo said, all giddy and clearly mocking me. Say what you want, but that's the only way I'll do it, I said. You're not going to let this half-pint dictate the terms, Atakai said too. Timo, insulted. Half-pint. I yelled at Atakai. Everyone is a half-pint to your freakish ass. You better watch your mouth. Then Atticai walked towards me. I was ready to fight his stringy ass at a moment's notice. Timo yelled at Atticai, please. Calm down. This isn't about you. You're damn right this isn't about me, because if it was, this bearded idiot would be dead. Atticai pointed his finger directly at me. I had obviously pissed him off. I glanced over at Maya and she looked petrified. Maya, are you okay? I yelled over to her. I'm okay, she answered back. Have they hurt you? No, not at all. Hurt her? Timo said, shocked. She got the spa treatment today. She better have. If I ever find out that any of you pigs laid a finger on her, I'll never let you live it down. I know, Timo said, bored and antsy. You'll kick all our asses. Blah blah blah. Do we really need to play this melodramatic bullshit? Look, you in or are you out? No one is going to hurt Patrick. I repeated myself. Damn. You really fell for Patrick, didn't you? Are you sure he isn't the one you're in love with? Atticai laughed. He's my friend, I said. Hell, we all have friends. Atticai said. Maybe. I choose mine more carefully. Okay, that is really sweet, Timo said, returning to the conversation. But the deal that's on the table isn't Patrick. The only reason we kept him alive was for you to show loyalty to us by killing him. Well, then you underestimated my loyalty to my friends, I said. Are you for real, dude? Timo looked like he was about to lose his mind. Then I heard some commotion coming from down the street. I turned around and saw a giant white truck come flying up the gravel. The guy in the truck was dragging an animal behind his truck bed by a chain. What the fuck is going on? I looked closely and that's when I saw it wasn't just any animal, it was a black werewolf. It was Sasha. She was all beaten down and mangled from being dragged on the road. What the fuck? I yelled. What the hell are you guys doing? Don't tell me you love werewolves too? Timo pleaded, then looked at the remaining vampires and said, this guy really isn't cut out to be a Mani. Let the werewolf go. I said. Timo, have had enough. You know what, I'm tired of this. You're going to need to show some loyalty here. He looked at the driver, who was also a Mani, and said, Moses, let the wolf go. I want to see what kind of fighter this guy is. You want me to fight an injured werewolf? I said, flabbergasted. It's not ideal, but I'm in the mood to kill a werewolf and this seems like the most fun. I looked at everyone and all the Mani seemed highly entertained by the prospect of a human and werewolf tussle. You're crazy, I said. It's not even a fair fight. Then you will win, Timo said. You will show some loyalty to us or I'm going to kill you right now. Timo controlled himself and then said, you need to despise the very sight of these primitive creatures. I looked over at poor Sasha and then I looked at Maya. She was shaking her head for me not to do it. Then I looked at Patrick and he mouthed to me, don't let her die, Tommy. All right, I said. Let her go. I'll kill her. Please don't. Maya yelled. I have to. I'm sorry. I took off my shirt. Everyone back up, I said. Moses took off the chain that was wrapped around Sasha's neck. The second the chain came off, Sasha tried to run to the woods. Whatever survival mechanism that was in a werewolf's DNA was on overload right now because she knew she was in danger and did not want to stick around and fight for sport. She was in luck. Neither did I. I ran after Sasha and jumped on top of her back before she got to the woods. We rolled on the rocks and I landed on top of her, pinning her wolf head back so she wouldn't take chomp on my face. I held her neck back tightly with both of my hands so she couldn't lunge forward and bite my neck either. Kill the beast. Timo yelled out, laughing. Sasha took a swipe at my neck with her claws. That was definitely not the place I wanted her to get me, so I flipped her over and kicked her off me and she flew 5 feet in the air. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Timo yelled. Hey beard boy, you're going to need this. He threw me a silver stake from where he was standing, caught the cold steel spike and dropped it on the ground. Sasha and I were now squared off. I figured the best spot for her to bite me was my lower back. I had a lot of muscle back there and I would still be able to be flexible after she injured me by taking some of my flesh in her mouth. Jumped into her and turned my back, I practically giving her my backside as an offering. She bit down into my lower back and from that moment I blacked out. I was told later that this is what happened. Sasha bit down into my back and I dove off of her. She saw she had injured me and took off into the woods. She was able to get away. I was lying on the rocky ground, and within seconds, hair protruded out of my body from every part of me. My body grew bigger in mass to the point I ripped into my pants like some kind of Hulk. I turned to the Mani and howled at them at the top of my lungs. The red-headed girl and Atakai transitioned into their bird form and flew away, wanting no part of me. It was apparently not what they had signed up for. There were 5 Mani men left with Patrick and Maya. Maya ran to my car with Patrick. They locked the door so I couldn't get in. I hope I wouldn't have harmed them, but I was a crazed dog wanting revenge. I don't think I could have figured out the good guys from the bad guys. The 5 Mani men surrounded me and began to transition, periodically spearing me with their raven beaks like swords. I swiped Monty out of midair when he became a raven and he fell to the ground. I dove on top of him and bit through his neck and killed him instantly. He vanished into thin air. 2 other Mani saw what I had done and transitioned and flew off afraid. Apparently Patrick wasn't the only Mani that didn't have the stomach for fighting. All that was left was Timo and Moses. Both deserved to die on this night. They decided that transitioning into ravens wasn't the way to go. Timo ran over and grabbed the silver stake that he had thrown to me earlier. I flung my body at Moses. He apparently roundhoused me and caught me in the head. Rolled across the gravel and then he jumped on my back. I rolled and reversed him, so apparently my MMA instincts were in effect even when I'm a werewolf. I bit down into his collarbone. I bit down strong, crushing his bone. Timo came barreling from behind me and tried to stab the silver stake into my back. At the exact moment he slammed the stake forward, I jumped off of Moses. Below me and Timo speared Moses right into his neck with the silver stake. Went completely through his neck and Moses also disappeared. All that was left was Timo. Timo and a werewolf named Cairo. It was a mismatch. Even if I was in my human form. But it had been a hell of an unfair fight now that I was a werewolf. Timo still had the stake in his hand and we circled each other, and periodically he would lunge at me with the stake. One of the times he lunged too far and his arm was too vulnerable. I bit into it and snapped it like a twig. He cried out in pain and then I jumped on top of him and well, I wasn't told exactly how I killed him, but I was told it was pretty gruesome. When I had finished all of them off, I ran into the woods. Chapter 24. I woke up the next morning and I was in the middle of the bushes somewhere on the mountain. I looked down and I was in my human form. I was drenched from head to toe and I needed to pee real badly. I did my business and then walked out from the bushes. I was on the main highway on the mountain and across the street I could see my Mustang. Inside it were Maya and Patrick were sleeping. Maya was asleep on Patrick's shoulder. Patrick was resting with his head leaning back in the driver's seat. I walked across the highway and went to the driver's side and tapped the window. Patrick woke up and gently placed Maya's head to the other side of the car and then he opened the door and got out. The sun had just come out and I could tell he was in immense pain for the heat. Transition, Patrick, you're frying your skin. I will. Just give me a second, he said. All right. Cairo, thank you. Don't worry. No, damn it. Let me thank you. I'm going to go away and I want to thank you for everything. You saved my life a few times. Why are you leaving? I need to get away from here. I need to start over. I stayed with Maya all night and made sure she was safe. I owed both of you that. Don't go, Patrick. I have to. This is no place for a vampire who wishes he wasn't one. If it's not the Brotherhood, it will be some other Mani wanting me dead. The Mani are strong in these parts and I need to go to a place where I can just live and not be who I am. I looked at Patrick and I knew he was right. He wasn't a fighter. You can't make someone stand up and fight for himself. He was better off finding a new life. I reached out my arms and hugged him. I want to thank you, Patrick. What did I have possibly done for you? You helped me get my life back. You showed me what's important. And what's that? Friendship. Patrick nodded and then smiled at me. Goodbye, Cairo. Where are you going to go? I don't know. That's the great part. I don't know where I'm going. Could be anywhere. All I know, it will be far away from here. With that, Patrick transitioned into a beautiful black raven and flew high above the clouds until I couldn't see him anymore. The sun had started drying me off, but I was cold. I opened the driver's side door and woke up Maya. Maya, I said. She opened her eyes. Tommy, you're all right. We followed you until you went into the brush. She looked around for Patrick. Where did Patrick go? He went away, and I don't think he's coming back. Maya nodded as if she had already been told about Patrick's plan before she had fallen asleep. How do you feel? She asked. I sat down next to Maya in the driver's seat. I'm exhausted. I'm just glad. You're okay. What happened? You don't know. The last thing I remember was Sasha biting me. Did I get those guys? You sure did, babe. Really? Maya smiled at me. Yes, and guess what? You're a beautiful gray wolf too. Gray? Really? I was hoping to be white. White? I thought black would be sexier. Black is so last year, I said jokingly. I stopped messing around and reached over and hugged Maya. I sat there and just held her. It was the first time in a long time I knew we were both safe. Are you okay? Were you hurt? Asked Tommy. I have never been better, she said, kissing my mouth. Kissed her back and took the keys out of my pocket and put the key into the ignition. Guess what, Maya? I said. What, babe? We need to go find Sasha.